And with that being said, it's going to lead into our next speaker. So this is a guy that I talked about a little bit earlier. He's one of my best friends in the world. We've shared so many things. We've talked about branding. We've talked about business. We've shared many late nights around a campfire and had a lot of good times together. It's gentlemen like this that take the industry, and people like this, like you've seen up here, that have taken the industry and done big things. He comes from Chino, California, and was in the construction business for years and years, and then got in with a little company called Cinch, Miller International, ended up being the top guy over there, top brass. That's where we met many years ago, and then ended up landing, which I think is probably going to be his forever home, at American Hat Company. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce my friend, one of my best friends in the world, Mr. Keith Mundee. Keith, take her away. Whatever microphone you want, brother. Pick your color. Yep, it'll be on when you start.
All right, how's that? I knew this was part of your deal here. I'd have to work in the mess, right?
Yeah. Don't step on popcorn.
Yeah. So if I slip and fall, it's a popcorn accident. All right. Well, there's a clicker here. I guess I need to use that too. Okay, so let's hope this works. One of my biggest fears, and Katie knows this, is technology. When technology doesn't work, it sucks really bad. So the title of what we're going to talk about here is Good, Better, Best. And so I have a great friend who's a football coach, and he would say, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better's best. Okay? So I wanted to kind of leave you with something that was a little bit catchy, but good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better's best. What that really says is we're all in a constant stage of trying to improve. And so we start off here, and once we get here, then we want to go here, and once we get there, we want to go further. So that's what that's about. And what's the difference between customer service and a customer experience? There's a huge difference, okay? Customer experience equals loyal, engaged customers. That's very proactive. And a customer service, you get satisfied customers, okay? So is everybody in here, are we all shooting for having satisfied customers? Is that what we want? Not me. I don't want a satisfied customer. A satisfied customer means that we did what was expected. We said please and thank you and yes ma'am and no ma'am, and we got them what they wanted and the price was just right and they loved it and they walked out. But they're just satisfied. That's all it is. So what we're looking for are loyal, engaged customers, okay? There's three types of customers. There's dissatisfied customers. We've all had those, so don't lie and tell me that you don't. We've all had them. Satisfied customers, those that were happy with the experience, but they will also shop around. You can lose a satisfied customer very fast, okay? A better price, a better location, a new store coming into town, you can lose your satisfied customer. What we're wanting is loyal customers, those that are raving fans, those that become evangelists for your brand, right? That's what you're after. That's what you're shooting for. Anybody here interested in doubling or tripling their business? Anybody? Oh, you can. Okay, so you're going to do it. So if you could turn your existing customer base into brand evangelists, right? And they went out and told one or two people about your store, and then they came to your store, and then they had a great customer experience, and then they went out and told one or two people. So if you did that with your current customer base, in 2 or 3 years you would have doubled your business. And so really it is, at the end of the day, it's about that customer experience. You need those brand evangelists. They used to say the best advertisement was word of mouth. No more. It's word of mouse. Okay? It's that little mouse, word of mouse. You got to deliver a customer experience. You got to use social media to the fullest. And so I like what the young lady was up here before me, what she was saying. Videos, have you heard the saying, "A picture's worth 1,000 words"? Well, she was saying videos are much more engaging. Word of mouth influencers. So in this day and age, we all get so much information from social media. And I'm just as guilty. Sometimes I'm looking at social media and I'm reading things and I'm thinking, is that true or is that not true? And but we're getting lots of information off of the social media platforms. Some of the bigger stores are actually paying influencers. So this will blow you away right here. So what if we could get Kim Kardashian to do an Instagram post about our store or one of our products? It's a mere $900,000. Yeah, so that's a pretty good job, huh? I could do 4 or 5 posts a year and be pretty happy. Just call it a day. Chloe, not so good. Chloe only gets $480,000 per post. Courtney, poor Courtney, she's only getting $300,000. And then Kendall and Kylie, $500,000 and $1 million per post. Is that just unbelievable? But that goes to show you the power of that social media. So what if you guys had Ashley from the Hub Boutique posting or talking about your store? What if you had Jesse Jarvis, Tiffany Cooper, Jenna Knowles, Katie Lynn Armstrong, Ricky Ruiz, Sharon Magruder, just to name some, Olivia? What if they were talking about your store? What if there was pictures of them on your social media platforms and people could see the outfits and all the stuff and how it's supposed to be put together, and they're telling your customer base what a great place this is to shop, and they became brand evangelists for you. So each of you know an influencer in your area, and what you want to do is you want to get those people working for you, okay? Relationships, relationships, relationships. It all boils down to relationships, okay? At the end of the day, that's what it's about. When I started in this business, it was about 20 years ago, and my customers, I traveled the Pacific Northwest, and then eventually, after a couple of years of not liking to be gone from home, and I didn't like staying in hotels and moving my stuff in and moving my stuff out, I talked my wife into going on the road. Our kids graduated from high school, and so we thought, well, we've done our part, so now let's go travel. And so my wife went with me, and that was the best thing. I had a lot of guys go, dude, are you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to be with your wife all day, every day? I said, yeah. So my wife actually is my best friend, and so we had a wonderful time. We traveled to the Pacific Northwest, and we had customers that put in pads for us to park our RV. They put in electrical hookups, people we would stay with for the weekend, and so they became our friends. So we built relationships. Everyone communicates, very few connect, and so that's a book by John Maxwell. And so what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to connect with your customer as fast as you possibly can. And that's a meaningful connection, okay? I'm not talking about a superficial connection. I love to say that I do not sell cowboy hats, right? What I sell is membership into an exclusive club, right? And I sell family heirlooms. Every one of my hats is special. So the hat that I have on today is the hat that I wore on October the 4th when we eulogized Keith Maddox's life. He loved a white hat. So this year I'm going to wear this hat at all of the firsts that I've gone to without him. And then I'm going to retire the hat. But it has his name, his birthday, his death date inside my hat. It has my name on the other side. It has a rose gold feather on the hat, and his brand is the +X sign, which stood for positive times. And so he was probably the most positive influence I've ever had in my life. You need to develop, So I'm very sentimental, so I gotta be careful that I don't start crying. If I start crying, I'll have to tell an off-color joke, and that doesn't work real good either here. So. But I actually have one of his ties that Susan Maddox gave me today, so that's I'm wearing his tie today. So means a lot to me. You need to really develop 2 or 3 questions that you ask almost every customer. And so I kind of do this at the point where I'm trying the hat on their head. As I'm standing there, I ask them to turn sideways, and I'm trying the hat on their head. And I said, tell me your name. And they'll say, my name's, Bob or whatever. And then I say, my name's Keith, And then from that point on, I'm going to use his name every chance I get. Bob, okay, here we go. And what do you think of that one, Bob? How'd that fit? So use their names. People love to hear their names. Talk more about them than you do about yourself. This is all elementary school stuff, but it's a refresher. But if you ask them questions, what do you do for a living, Bob? Where are you guys from? So I'll tell you a quick story here. NFR this year, we get overrun. For those of you that have ever seen our booth, it's a zoo. You can't get down the aisle. And I had a guy that I was trying a hat on. I said, "Where are you from?" Well, first he said, I just want to try one on. I just got here, so I'm not going to buy a hat right now. He said, "I just want to tell you that I'm not buying a hat right now." I said, "I just want to try it on. I'm just starting this is my beginning of my search." I said, "Oh, no problem." So I said, "Where are you guys from?" He said, "California." And I said, "Well, whereabouts in California?" He says, "Small town, you won't know where it's at." And I said, "Go ahead and just tell me what it is." He says, "Chino, California." I said, "I grew up on Riverside Drive in Lewis in Chino, California." He goes, "Are you kidding me?" So that's what connect. We would have never, if I had not asked the question, I'd have never known. So then we start talking about high schools and football and coaches, and so the hat comes out, and I get the hat on his head, and we get it on, and it fits good, and everything's working good. And I said, "No, you just got to decide how you want to shape." At that point, I thought he was going to say, "Well, I'm going to walk around and look around." He says, "Okay, that's the one I want. I'll take it." This is the guy that wasn't going to buy a hat. So find out how you can serve your customer. Find out by asking questions. They may not tell you directly, but they're going to tell you indirectly what they're wanting, what they're looking for, where they're going, how they're going to use their hat or their clothes. I have a daughter that worked at Maurice's, and she would always ask if somebody was coming to get an outfit for a wedding or something. She would always ask, "Is it a daytime wedding? Is it a nighttime wedding? Is it a spring? Is it So then she would know the colors and try to work that all into the program. Does anybody here know what hashtag Lily effect means? Okay. All right. We're going to look at a quick video, and it's called Pouring Happiness. So I'll let Mac, I guess, take this over and run the video.
It's a simple premise. Relationships precede financial results. That's why a big part of their focus is putting their partners in a position to be successful, be remarkable consistently. And I want to give you an example of this happening. And I think there's a real relevant insight around this story. I mentioned I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but originally I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And my mom still lives in Cleveland in the house we grew up in. She's a retired school teacher. So every year around the holidays, we all go back and we visit Mom. Well, a couple of years ago, I was traveling when my schedule worked out on Christmas Eve. And I thought the airport was going to be a zoo, so I got there a couple hours early. It wasn't crowded at all. So for me, that means Starbucks time. So I get down into my terminal D, and I see the green sign. And when I travel these days, I always wear earbuds, so I'm rocking out to Coldplay. And I see the sign, I get in line, and there's one woman in front of me. And she's having a very animated conversation with the barista. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but she's kind of waving her arms, and they're both smiling and laughing. So I wasn't in a rush, but out of curiosity, I popped out my earbuds. And sure enough, they were going on about their holidays and their plans and the kids and presents. And she starts to move down the line. So it's my turn to order. And I was greeted with this very warm and sincere welcome. This woman said to me, "Hi, my name's Lily. What's your name?" I said, "I'm Ryan." She said, "Ryan, what can I make for you today?" I said, I want a grande pumpkin spice latte." She said, "You want whipped cream on that, don't you?" I said, yeah, I want the whipped cream. She said, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do." She said, "I'm going to make it extra hot, load it up with whipped cream, sprinkle a little nutmeg on top. That's how I like it. You're going to love it." I said, "Sounds great." She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Cleveland." She said, "Are you going back to Cleveland to spend the holiday with your family?" I said, "Yes." Now at this point, I start looking around for the camera, right? I'm trying to get a latte at Starbucks. So I move down the line, and the conversation continues, and she's funny. She's asking me questions about my family and our holiday traditions. She's laughing, and I'm laughing, and she hands me my drink and says to me, "Ryan, have a safe trip back to Cleveland. Go create some extraordinary memories with your family. When you come back through the Minneapolis airport, I want you to stop here and tell me all about it." As I get my drink, I start walking away, and I stop and I look back at this woman, And I think to myself, you know, it's Christmas Eve. Most people would rather be anywhere else in the world than serving coffee in an airport. Not her. It was like she was meant to be there. And I couldn't help myself. I had to go back. So I did. I walked back and I said, "Excuse me, Lily." And, you know, she jumps around. "Right, is everything okay with the latte?" Nice athletic stance, pumpkin whipped cream. I said, "No." I said, "The latte is perfect. I just had to come back and ask you, what is your secret to making such meaningful connections over serving coffee?" Well, she corrected me. She said, "Ryan, I'm not serving coffee." I said, "Okay, what are you doing?" She had thought about this. And what she told me was, "I'm pouring happiness into people's lives." I said, "You're pouring what?" Like, what is pouring happiness? And I want to introduce you to her and her definition of pouring happiness. This is Lily Olson on Christmas Eve, a couple years ago. Lily is the shift supervisor in the Terminal D Starbucks in the Minneapolis International Airport. And this is her definition of pouring happiness. She wants to be happy in her life. She wants to be around happy people. She cares about her customers. She wants them to come back. So she chooses, even on Christmas Eve, to smile, to have fun, to help people, to just be happy. I said, "Lily, you are awesome. You're an awesome brand ambassador for Starbucks. You want your customers to keep coming back to Starbucks." "No, Ryan. No, Ryan." I said, "Okay, Coffee Yoda, lesson number 2, please." She says, "No, I want my customers to come back to see me in Terminal D." And she gets to really important principles of meeting customers where they are in the new economy. And the first one is, instead of just focusing on how to be successful, focus on how to be helpful. When you help customers get where they want to go today, they'll return that favor with loyalty. Optimized employees are more likely to be helpful. The other thing she understands and masters straight away is the very specific and intentional decision around how she chooses to show up, even on Christmas Eve. You know this. A lot of things happen in work and in our lives that are beyond our sphere of influence or control. She doesn't control the weather in Minneapolis. Trust me, I live there. She doesn't control what Caribou does in D8. All she gets to own is how she chooses to respond to those things. Decide how you show up. You know, it's interesting, when I met Lily, and she would have had no way of knowing this, but I was pretty heavy in the heart and had a lot on my mind. My parents, both retired school teachers, married 45 years. About 3 months before that holiday, I got a call from Mom. We got some really tough medical news about Dad. And it was a terminal diagnosis, and we knew we probably weren't going to have a lot of time. So I was sitting in that airport on Christmas Eve, not in the best place in the world. I will never forget that cup of coffee. When you decide to show up consistently as the best version of who you are, it gives you your best opportunity to meet people where they are. And you never know when someone needs you to be your best.
That's the kind of stuff I really love. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh, look at there. So now my fears are all alleviated that everything worked. So the best way to turn an unhappy customer into an evangelist is to solve their problem immediately. I mean, as fast as you possibly can. An unhappy customer will only get more frustrated if you say, I've got to talk to my manager and I'll get back with you, or let me, do this, or let me do that, or I'm not sure. If you empower your employees and they fix the problem immediately, you can turn an unhappy customer into an evangelist immediately, very fast. And we did that with a couple of people in Las Vegas who came by And we looked at their hat and we said, there's something's, it's not right on this one side here. And we tried shaping it and it wouldn't hold its shape. Let's get you another hat. We're like, are you kidding me? No, let's get you another hat. You buy a nice hat, we expect it to do everything that it's supposed to do, okay? Ritz-Carlton has an interesting philosophy. They give every employee $2,000 to use at their discretion to solve problems, right? So, a couple of stories there. A gal that worked at the breakfast bar, a guy come down and she said, good morning, how are you today? And how was your evening? Did you sleep well? And he says, yeah, it's pretty good. But he says, the toilet was running all night long. And he said, so I didn't really get a great night's sleep. She said, well, let me get this fixed for you. So this is the gal behind the check-in there at the breakfast deal, right? How's she gonna fix a toilet? In any other place you went that it said, you gotta go up there and ask the front desk and they'll get maintenance on that. But instead, what she did was she got him seated, she got him breakfast, she called maintenance, she said, get up to this room, there's the room number, get up there and fix his toilet. He's gonna be done in about 30 minutes here in breakfast. Fix that toilet, and then she bought him breakfast with her $2,000, that she could use at her discretion. So don't you think that guy was pretty loyal? This is another little extreme story. And my wife and I have stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Laguna Beach, California. It's very nice, right there on the beach. Newlywed couple spending their honeymoon there. And I guess they were playing volleyball, and somehow she lost her wedding ring in the sand. So they hunted. They got on their hands and knees, and they hunted until it was dark, and they couldn't find this wedding ring. So 4 of the employees with Ritz-Carlton went down and bought metal detectors, 4 of them. They taped off the volleyball court, and they got lights, and they started searching section by section, this way and then this way, and they found the ring. And the people didn't know that. They had already given up, and they had already gone to bed for the evening. And so the next morning when they came to breakfast, they had a plate there with her ring on it and a bow tied in it. So, do you think those people are going to be loyal to the Ritz-Carlton? Do you think those people are going to tell everybody they know about that experience? And so, even the manager at Ritz-Carlton said, good job, you guys, because if you'd have came to me and asked me for a metal detector, I'd have said, you get 1, you're not going to go buy 4. But the employees made that decision to solve this problem. Now, you're not going to be 100%, okay? So, don't hold yourself to an unbelievable standard. We have had people before. I had a lady that came to me at NFR and said, I want to buy this hat. I love this hat, but I don't want the flag on the back. The little American flag that we put on the back of the hat. I said, I'm so sorry, but it doesn't come off. You can't buy a Cadillac without the emblem on the front. You can't buy an Apple computer without the Apple logo on it. So you cannot buy an American hat without the flag on the back. And so I helped her find another hat. I said, these guys over here, and walked her over and helped her to find another hat. But she wasn't going to buy our hat, right? And if I ever get somebody that's just like constant complaining, right, that you just can't make them happy, and Keith Maddox was great at this, he'd say, we'll give you all your money back. We'll give you everything back, whatever we got to do, but I don't want to make another hat for you because I don't think we can make one good enough for you. And Ritz-Carlton had a situation where they had a customer, a long-term customer that kept, every morning he would come down and he would say, something, this wasn't right, that wasn't right, so he had a problem. And after doing that for several days there, they decided they were going to book him into another hotel, which they did, nice hotel. And they had a limo come to their hotel, and they loaded all of his clothes and all of his stuff, and got him a limo to the next hotel. So I'm just saying, you're not going to be 100%, so don't hold yourself to an unrealistic standard. But your employees must be trained in resolving problems and resolving them as quick as possible. The art of handling complaints. Good companies and great companies is how they handle their complaints, okay? Have you ever voiced a complaint with a clerk and they give you a blank stare? They just look at you like, I don't even know what you're talking about. The insurance industry is great for this. They train their people, never admit it was your fault, you can't do that, so they they give you that blank stare, right? Well, 90% of the customers who complain really just want to be heard. They want to say their piece and they're going to be fine. If you get an opportunity and you can joint venture with other companies, you want to try to do that. It makes your brand look bigger if you joint venture with somebody. So one of the probably the most successful joint ventures of some of those big brands are Disney and McDonald's. So how many of you have kids or grandkids that want to go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal because you got to get the latest Frozen, or I can't think of them all of them now, but you know, the figurine from a movie, right? So Disney's providing the figurines to McDonald's to promote their movie, and McDonald's is selling Happy Meals, right? How about a boutique doing a joint venture with a wholesaler or a manufacturer? You probably think, well, I don't have the power to do that. They're bigger than I am, and so how am I going to get that done, right? But if you think about it, we all have the same problem. You can't afford to carry all of the inventory all of the different styles and things we make. We make 56 different straw hats and countless felt hats in all different colors. So you'd have to have, if you wanted to open up a hat business and just start day one, you'd have to have about $180,000 just to get going. So there's a big barrier to entry there. So you can't afford to stock all that stuff, and we are trying to make it all, so then we have stuff that either sells better or doesn't sell as good as other things. So what if you joint ventured with your wholesaler or a manufacturer, and in your store, and where this came up is I took a trip to Brazil, and we went into a store. I needed a coat. I never thought I'd need a coat in Brazil, but I came, I guess, at the wrong time of year. I thought it was summer in Brazil when it was summer here, but it doesn't work that way. I should have looked at a map or a globe or something. But I needed a coat. We were going to a big rodeo. But we went to a very nice mall, and they didn't have it in every size. They had it every size, but they didn't have it in all the colors. So I found my size, but I wanted a different color. And so I asked if you have it in different colors. She said, go to this kiosk over here, and you can order it on that kiosk. And I said, well, I'm not from here. I'm staying in the hotel, and I need it really tonight because I'm going. She said, if you order it there, it might even be at the hotel before you get back there. Is that crazy? Now that's maybe extreme, but what if a manufacturer or a wholesaler would allow you to have an iPad or a kiosk of something that gave your customers access to more sizes, more colors, the full line, and they could order that right then and there? That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? All of a sudden you're making money without having to stock all that inventory. So think outside the box a little bit. We've got to, in this Western business, we have to innovate or we will die. We got to keep going. I got a lot of slides here on how to lose a customer. When I started looking at this thing, I thought, well, I'm kind of dwelling a little bit too much on the negative, but this is important. When you cut back on the promise of the brand, cutting corners, the quality of the product or the customer experience. So again, Ritz-Carlton, they had a store or one of their hotels that was trending down just a little bit. So their manager thought he was doing a great thing. He said, okay, I'm going to cut some overhead costs. So he cut out the fresh cut flowers. That was the first thing. The second thing, he decided to cut the guy that was singing in the lounge on the piano. So they cut him out. And then he made some other suggestions to management. Maybe we should change the towels. They don't need to be that quality. Maybe we should get a different bar of soap. It doesn't need to be that big. So Ritz-Carlton figured out that they just hired the wrong manager, right? He was wanting to cut the brand promise. So in some companies, that guy gets promoted, okay? I don't mind, I'm not talking about somebody looking for waste, that's okay. But when you're wanting to change the brand promise and you want to cut quality, that's a good way to start losing customers. We get careless and we quit paying attention to details. It's not doing one thing 1,000% better, but it's doing 1,000 things 1% better. It's a game of inches. It's not one big thing. If we could give you one big thing to do, somebody would have already come up here and told you what that one big thing was, and you could just go home and do it. but it's not. It's doing a bunch of little things different. It's being better in every little tiny thing. We get comfortable and then we get lazy. Keith Maddox would always say to me, and as a matter of fact, after he passed, and again, this will show you kind of how extreme I am, or how passionate I am about my experience with Keith. As I had on the inside of this forearm, I have a tattoo that says, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. And then it says Hat King, and then his brand, plus X. And that's a sign for me to continue to push the envelope every day. Look for a new way to do it. Look for a better way to do it. If it's not broke, break it, and let's fix it, okay? Who really likes to shop for tires in here? Anybody? I hate going to a tire store. I hate going to a tire store. I remember shopping for some tires for my wife one time, and I went into a tire store, and the ladies behind the counter were talking, and they didn't even acknowledge I was there. I'm saying it was 45 seconds to 60 seconds, and that's a long time if a customer's standing there and they're just having a conversation. And so they were having this conversation back and forth, and then finally they said, well, can we help you? And I said, I'm looking for some tires, car out here. And as I backed away from the counter, I realized I had grease all over. And that, I'm not blaming it on the counter. My stomach hit the thing first and all that. So, but I had a grease stain across my shirt there. And then I thought, well, I'll go sit over here and wait. And then the waiting room smelled like burnt coffee, right? Tire store, burnt coffee. So when we lived in the Pacific Northwest, has anybody ever heard of Les Schwab? Les Schwab. So when you pull up and you pull into the parking lot, a guy will run out to your car. He comes jogging out to your car. Their goal is to get to you before you get out of your car. What can we help you with today? So there's a different way. It's a one small thing, but it's a big difference. And so if I ever have to get tires, I almost want to drive to the Pacific Northwest to do it, and I live in Texas. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You know, when I worked for Miller, we had a VP, great friend of mine, but we would sit in a big conference room and all the designers would come in and they would be telling us what they thought the newest, greatest trends and things were. And he didn't realize, but his opinion carried a lot of weight. And so he would pipe up. And I remember this one particular situation, and Brenda might remember it too. They were showing us epaulets, you know, little flap-on Southern thread shirts. And he said, I don't see epaulets anywhere. I'm not seeing any epaulets. I don't think that's not a trend. And so our designers at that point all clammed up and they shut up. And so I had to tell him, we know what we know. We need to know what they know. So I had a signal for him, and it was this. Just if I put my finger on my lips, it meant shut up. We know what we know. We need to know what they know. So you can listen and you can learn more if you're not busy trying to talk. Okay. There's a very, very fine line between confidence and arrogance. Right, Dale? Confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is when you act like you're smarter than your customer, like they don't know what they're doing or they don't know what they need. I often say, and I have to be careful when I say this, because if somebody says, I'm going to look around and see if I can find it, I'm going to look at other hats. And I often say, you won't have a hard time finding a cheaper hat. That won't be the hard part, but when you find it, then you got to wear it. That's the hard part. But I try not to do that. I try to say that tongue in cheek and make it funny for them. I found myself guilty of this, excuse me, was selling to a retailer, and we happened to have the numbers, 105 years in the business, American Hat Company. I wasn't there in the beginning, but we know like a 7 1/4 is 19% of the business, a 7 1/8 is 19% of the business, 7 3/8 is 11% of the business. So we know how you should put your orders together, right? Well, I had a customer that wanted to order 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 from a 6 1/2 all the way to an 8. Well, there's quite a few hats. I said, let's try this little difference. Let's group them up here in the middle, and let's do that. because that's where they're going to turn. That's the sizes that you need. And this customer said, nope, that's what I want to do. Well, I got frustrated. I was pretty frustrated because I said, well, this is a recipe for disaster. This is a recipe for failure. And I'm not used to failing. So I almost got to the point where I didn't want to sell them the hats. I didn't even want to open them as an account. So that's where arrogance and confidence are two different things, right? And then Stan Redding, who is here somewhere, maybe he's probably working, so oh, there he's back, okay. So he came, we got to talking about that, and I was so frustrated that they wanted to do that, and about how this is the dumbest thing ever, why are we doing? And so he said, I had one just like that too. He said, and I said, no problem, we'll do that. But he says, what we're going to do is we're going to write a backup order for those gut sizes to come about 3 weeks later, and then we'll write one more backup order for your gut sizes to come another 3 weeks later, and then one more backup order 3 weeks later, because you're going to run out, we won't be able to get them fast enough. And so I went, oh my God, that's the solution. And so, you know, he found a different way to do it. So that's what I like, is being able to learn from other people, right? One of the biggest frustrations, if you're out of stock on your gut sizes. Works for boots, works for hats, works for jeans. If you don't have the sizes, you're out of business. I'm going to skip over some of the stuff I've already talked about, but you can get the notes up there. When I was with Cinch, we used to say there were really three types of people. Three types. There's trendsetters. That's the guy or girl that wants to wear the latest and greatest and coolest thing, and they're not afraid. That, you know, they have no fear. People can laugh. They don't care. And the next one is a trend adopter. So when everybody's done laughing at the trendsetter, done laughing at them, then we adopt it. Okay? And then the third one's tried and true. So I've always either been a trend adopter after they got done laughing, then I picked it up, or I was a, tried and true, right? So we have other people that have always been trendsetters. The right stuff, the right product makes you money, the wrong stuff costs you money. You guys know that, but do your homework, do your research, make sure you know what the gut size is, the things that are gonna turn. That's where you wanna invest your money. Markdowns, you need to be very, very, very careful about markdowns. When you start marking products down, then you've lowered the level of the first quality goods. So they're not going to go over to that rounder and buy the first quality goods, and you're going to train them eventually. Wait 2 more weeks. This is what they're going to do. They're going to mark that down. And then they'll come back 2 weeks later and buy it at a markdown. Okay, so don't train your customers to buy or to shop your store looking for markdowns. Do some other creative stuff. Even if you did a buy 2, get 1 free, you gave 1 away, but you sold the 2 at full price, you still are going to come out ahead and get your money back. And there's examples there. You can read that, but I think I'm out of time, but I'll keep going. Is that okay? Yeah. All right? Every customer is a potential influencer, VIP, or evangelist. It is word of mouth, not word of mouth. Develop relationships, connect, learn names, details. My wife used to keep 3x5 cards, and so when we traveled on the road in the Pacific Northwest, we had a motorhome, and she would keep a card file on every customer. We knew what kind of coffee they liked, what kind of creamer they liked, we knew what music they liked. And so, you know, we had a customer called Peppers, they're not in business anymore, great people, and he liked, he liked the older, on Sirius XMs, he liked Hank's Place or something like that. So when Jerry and Patty came in to buy, we made sure that we had the coffee that they liked, the creamer that they liked, and Hank's Place was playing on the Sirius XM radio. And they never knew we were doing all that. But then my wife also would prompt me as we were driving there. She said, okay, kids' names are this, this, and this. Grandkids are this, this, and this. This one just had a baseball game. And so we knew to ask all those questions, okay? Solve problems quickly, we talked about that. Hire people with it. This used to drive the gal, Debbie Pelican was a great HR person at Miller, and used to drive her nuts because I would have to fill out this form and they would say, what the qualifications, we wanted to hire somebody. And at the end I would say, they must have it. And so she'd come up to my office, she was, Keith, what is it? And I said, I can't explain it, but I know it when I see it. If you think they may have it, bring them up. I want to talk to them. So you've got to hire people that are passionate about you and about your brand and about what you're doing. If you just want to get somebody that just wants a job, that's not going to help you. Emulate great companies. Find great companies. Do you see some stuff that they do? Emulate them. Look for those opportunities to do the joint ventures. So again, think outside the box. Stock those gut sizes. This says final slide, but there's actually one more. I'm just baiting you. There's actually 5 more. Life and business is a team sport, okay? So you need to surround yourself with people that you can count on, people that you rely or you trust their opinion on things. And so, you know, Drew and I do a lot of that stuff. Corey and I, we bounce stuff off of each other. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What about this event? Stan Redding is another one of those people that it's funny, we usually always come to the same conclusion, but we may come at it a different way. But I am blessed to work with great people. I paid all these people at this table to come here to this little speech, but these are my folks that are always supportive, and if I have a question about something, I want to go to them because I trust their opinion, okay? I've been blessed in my life to work with great people. Here comes Drew, he's trying to take this microphone from me. So one more thing about Keith Maddox. Keith Maddox had a huge influence on my life, and he would always say, he was fanatical about controlling your thoughts. You know, the battlefield of the mind. Have you everybody heard of that book? It's a great book. It's by Joyce Meyer, but it's called The Battlefield of the Mind, and that's done right here. And if you can solve that problem, then you can go places, right? Keith would often say, well, at one point we were in his office and I said, well, that'd be my luck. And he goes, oh, don't even say that. Don't even say that, because you've got great luck, right? And I said, yeah, you're right, I do have great luck. What you believe, what you think in your head gets embedded in your heart. What's in your heart eventually comes out of your mouth, and what comes out of your mouth directs your actions. And then your actions become who you are. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Like I said, his brand was a plus X that stood for positive times. I miss his megawatt smile. So, we're going to continue going. Good, better, best. We're never going to let it rest until our good is better and our better is best. Thanks for listening. Hope it helped. This is actually the last slide, and it has some of the books. I like to read books a lot, and now I like to listen to books a lot. Anytime I'm driving, I figure I can get a PhD in some subject the amount of time that I drive if I listen to a book. So my wife and I listen to books as we're driving.
What's your favorite, Keith? If you had to pick one book for people to read, what would it be? That one book that really sticks out.
Well, it started with Good to Great for me, and then now one of the books that I'm reading here is What Great Brands Do. And all great brands have some common things that they do. Branding Beyond the Logo is a great book. I also like Psychological Triggers. Things that make people do what they do.
Yep, absolutely. Have you read The Shoe Dog?
The what?
The Shoe Dog.
No.
It's the story of Nike, Phil Knight's story.
Oh.
And Nike, controversial a little bit, especially in our deal, but I'm going to tell you, if that's the greatest book I've ever read. Entrepreneurial, beginning, the whole story of how Nike came to be.
Very cool.
Yeah, easy read.
Yeah.
I got through it. So.
Yeah. Pictures?
Lots of pictures. Lots of pictures, yeah.
Pictures.
Minimal words, yeah.
I wanted
the twins could read it.
Yeah. See Dick and Jane run. And
Yeah. See shoes, sell shoes, make money. This is real good. Hey guys, last opportunity for questions for Keith up here. And man, it's been a good day. So ask some questions right here. Here's your last shot.
I was just going to say, I know I saw a lot of y'all taking photos of the slides. So if you need a copy of that, just message the American Hat Company Facebook page. Yeah.
She said if you guys want copies of the slide, we'll email you guys the slide. We're happy to. So, thanks, Katie.
Anyone? Bueller? Pretty much nailed it. Guys, put your hands. Oh, we got one. We got one. We got a live one. Got the champion over here.
It's not about popcorn, is it?
Yeah.
No, I guess I didn't really formulate this question well in my head, but being the American Hat Company, we're definitely proud to support American-made brands. How do you do that in this industry when there's, I mean, you talk about quality, but bottom line comes down to price on a lot of things, or there's certain items that just aren't available American-made, and how can we?
It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I mean, it's not easy. You know, there's been things that, and so really what we end up doing is we have a constitution for American Hat Company, and that's a part of our constitution. So if we actually had some kids' hats at one point in time, and the kids' hats actually had to come from Mexico, and we just finally had to say we're not going to sell those. We're going to sell hats in kids' sizes. But I don't have those very inexpensive $15 kids hats. We just don't do. That's not our business. So we're just going to stick to it. It's American Hat Company. We're there and we can't change. Does that help? It's hard though.
One more. Anybody?
Over here.
Okay.
Keith, I listen to some podcasts, Keith Oaks, stuff like that. Do you listen to any podcasts?
I do. I did one with Ashley. There's several of them out there. But I listen to podcasts. I listen to TED Talks. So I'll get on YouTube and just put customer experience. There's all kinds of great stuff up there. I like anything that's motivational. You know, they say motivational speaking doesn't work. It wears off. Well, so does the bath. You know, so you gotta take those every day. So I just try to listen to as much, and this really is it's a Keith Maddox influence on my life, to just constantly feed yourself positive information, positive stuff, and just, you know, kick the negative stuff away. I don't believe that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going this direction, and we like to say we just rip the rear view mirrors off and we look out the windshield. We don't want to look backwards. We want to look forwards. So.
I think that's a good place to end, in folks. Thank you, pal.
Appreciate you too. I'm really proud of you too. You've made quite a transformation.
Thanks, pal.
And I'm glad you did with those two little boys.
Thanks, buddy.
That's phenomenal.
Appreciate
you look great.
Thank you.
Is there another one of you around, or is this...
I got rid of the asshole part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this is nothing but nice guy.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I think if you turn around, I think it's following you.
Yeah, all right. Love you, buddy. Guys, what a good day, huh? What a good day. Man, oh man. Bring Ashley up here, Cammie Peterson. Ladies, huh?
This was an awesome day. Did you guys have some major nuggets and takeaways today? Yes. Did we lose the amen or the 10-4? Are you guys still not have enough wine yet? Can I get a whoop whoop? All right.
I think they're ready for Let's Drink and Shop.
Right? I want to wrap up with this really quick. Just a reminder, what are the 3 things that you are going to take action on when you get home? Who are the 3 people you are going to stay in touch with? And what is the one biggest rock that you moved today? Because all this motivation, I love that. A bath wears off. Keith, that was awesome. 1 hour of action is better than 100 hours of motivation. So the 1 hour of action you're going to take tomorrow trumps everything that you learned today. So you guys, thank you for being here and investing in yourselves.
Yes, thank you guys so much on behalf of Ashley at the Boutique Hub and me at Western Lifestyle Retailer. We couldn't make this without you guys, and we're so glad to have you guys here.
We've got lots of sponsors to
Yeah, we
thank
do.
as well.
You know, we all day long we've talked about partnering up and collaborations, and sponsors are a big part of it. And one more time, we want to say thanks to all these people. And it's not just the brands, it's the people associated with the brands, because those relationships are really where it's at. We'd like to thank Charlie One Horse and Resistol. They were here. I think Kylie just left here a little bit ago. Been around a long, long time, since 1927. They've been doing it. And a big thanks to the team at Resistol. Texas True Threads. Big thanks to Texas True and everything that they've been doing, and of course American Hats, the entire table down here. Thank you, Keith, Susan, the entire crew, Terry, all of you. Appreciate you being a big part of it. And of course Ariat. Ariat is a big partner. They've been stepping up big time, especially in the last few years, sponsoring events, sponsoring athletes, sponsoring events like this. A big thanks to Double T Sales. Double T, they gave some prizes away to our popcorn thrower and catcher winners here a little bit ago. Big thanks to Tammy, along with Kimes Ranch.
Woo woo!
Love ya.
Lindsay.
Kimes Ranch up there, and comments sold. Remember to swing by and talk to that whole team up there. They're going to show you how to make some money online. Big thanks to them, along with Cowgirl Tough Company. Cowgirl Tough.
Lisa was here today. Is Lisa still in the house? No, she was here
she
taking it all in
was.
today. So that was awesome to see someone who's been a brand for 20 years, started her own company, and to be here continuing to learn today. That says a lot about being a leader.
Absolutely. Joey with Hui, big thanks to him and everything that he does in the industry. It's cool having him up. What a great speech. I mean, just it's cool to find out the backstories and really fun to learn that we all kind of start at that same place, and it is zero. And you can do it. You guys and gals can do it. It's just a matter of doing it. Reba and Justin, pretty cool partnership, huh?
Reba's in the house.
Reba is in the
And
house.
it's not an oldie.
No. And Park Packaging over here, cool stuff. Every one of us, if we have a store, we need to package it. You got to wrap it, and they got to take your brand home. They're going to help you do that. So why don't you put our hands together for all of our great sponsors here.
We get to be up there on stage, but there's so many people behind the scenes that makes this happen, that work their tail ends off. So we like to introduce our team. I've got Catherine Barkey from my team. Come on up.
Come on up. Come on up.
Chris is still here, Hamilton. But go ahead. Jesse Jarvis.
Yeah. Do you have any more on your team?
Jesse.
Let's do your team. Okay. All right. Oh, we got a lot of hubbies. Jesse Jarvis. On the Boutique Hub team, co-owner of Western Runway. I know lots of you got Western Runway magazine. Beth, the dancing queen, Leahy. Woo! And the star of our TikTok videos. Sarah Burks is our Director of Partnerships and Education. She is our co-creator of Retail Boot Camp, our biggest program at the Hub. Also, Sarah and Jesse help create our Boutique Boss Planner. If you haven't got one of those, there's more in the back of the room. Shannon Gordon moved to Colorado. Was a former boutique owner, part of our community, and now does social media. She's a genius on the gram, so loving having her. Ed Oliveira, our director of wholesale, the kindest man you will ever meet. We love Ed. And last but not least, my better half, my husband and the rock that's been here, even from the days where our bank account was drained down to zero, and supported our family and truly made this all possible, Eric Alderson.
Don't forget to get the photo op before you guys leave, and make sure you tag us during the sip and shop. Also, got to mention Catherine made this beautiful backdrop with her soon-to-be husband.
Yes. We've got an exciting announcement. We know that this show is moving to Dallas. We just want to tell you guys that we will be moving to Dallas. So anyone want to come to Western Summit 2021? Awesome. Got a little celebrity in the back of the house. Old DB is with us today, and he's already signed on to Western Summit 2021.
Of course, we could make this happen this year. Drew flew in just to MC for us. Drew, come up here. We wanted to say thank you and give you a hug.
Oh, look at us, guys. Those three guys, these beautiful women. What a great, wouldn't miss it for the world, guys.
He literally has
Thank
worked
you.
half his ass off this
Yep.
year. So,
That
Mac,
is
you
a
want to
true
give
statement.
us, there's your cue, Mac. So, Drew, last year, we're not letting you leave without a little bit of...
Close it out for us. Bring it home. We need you guys to stand up and bring it home with Drew. Come on. Woo! Stand up.
Get up, everybody. Stand up. You've been all day sitting down. Get up. Come on.
Woo!
All right.
It's so much easier this year. I just had knee surgery, so there's not going to be a whole lot going on, but we'll try this one time. Maybe one kick. Hey, I love all of you. You guys, thank you so much. That's all you're getting. Appreciate you. Guys, this is a wealth of knowledge. You are in such an awesome community right here. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me. And congratulations to each and every one of you people out there on having a brand, having a business, and taking the risk to do it. You can do it. Stick with it. Work hard. All right, everybody. Time to drink and shop.
We've got Aubrey Bullock in the house who's going to come up and play some music for us. If you want to take a quick picture on the stage, let's do it while Aubrey's setting up. She's amazing. Enjoy a drink. Please visit our sponsors. Thanks for coming.